Hey everyone, Dan Heilman here, and today I will be making an updated rune guide. I've had a request from one of my subscribers to go ahead and make an updated rune guide. The one I made is about 2 months old, so it's due for a new one. So okay, let me just talk about what runes are, where you can get them, what are the best runes, what runes you should be using on which phantoms, how the rolls work, how does gold versus purple versus blue work, which ones I would upgrade, which ones I wouldn't, etc. So let's begin. Okay, so first thing, I just want to bring up my spreadsheet. As always, this will be on, link in the description, as it always is. And let's just talk about where to find them first. So it is said in the game you can get them from field combat. And it does point you to this zone right here, Temple of Nature. So they may be a very small percent chance to get runes drop in the open world, but I wouldn't rely on that one too much. Phantom Abode is going to be really where you're getting runes in the beginning of the game before you're able to get into Demon Fortress. So after Phantom Abode, you're probably going to be farming in Demon Fortress because Phantom Abode is only blue quality runes maximum. Once you get into Demon Fortress and you get into the higher levels, you'll be able to farm gold, aka legendary runes. Another place you can purchase them is the black market. Kind of expensive, but if you're unable to get to the higher levels of Demon Fortress to be able to get the legendary runes, black market is a decent option. Obviously, you can choose which rune it is. So if you go over here in the black market, you have these runes here. You can use diamonds to refresh it. And, 2 million for a guaranteed gold rune is not bad. You see, we have a harvest rune here for 725,000 gold. So this is a good method, especially if you're struggling and you really want to get some gold runes on, your main phantoms or whatever. This is an option. But 2 million is expensive, so just be careful. And there's daily quests. So the last one is just being able to get them from your daily quest. If you go down here to daily quest, and you go to this one right here, you have a chance to get epic runes from getting these books here. So I do these every day. They're also good to use for fodder, to level up your other runes. Okay, so let me talk about the stats that roll in each slot. So we'll call this top right one here, Rune Slot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in Rune Slot 1, it's physical attack or magic attack. You can get percentage or flat. You want percentage on almost every phantom in the game. There's some niche phantoms like Sea Conqueror, for example. All of her damage is only based off HP. So that was the only person I would ever roll up a flat stat rune for. She wants all speed. So if you have a really nice flat stat rune that has speed, you could use it on her, but I would not use it on anyone else. Obviously, depending on the phantom, some phantoms base off physical attack, some off magic attack. All you have to do is just go and actually look at the phantom that you are in question. So if I go over here to King Arthur, you'll see it says right here, Arthur attacks one enemy and deals 100% physical damage. So you can look at each skill and see what it's based off of. So obviously you want to build physical damage. You can also see that King Arthur has 0 magic attack and he has base physical attack. So that's another way that you can look at it. So that one's obvious. You want percent stats and whatever stats depending on the phantom. This rune right here, Rune 2, is always speed. You always want speed there. There's no other options. This one right here, you have resist or accuracy. In the game right now, accuracy is only needed to land debuffs. Attack bar absorb does not need accuracy. So just remember that. So I would only build accuracy if you need it. Obviously, if you're using some sort of a debuffer, if you're trying to land bleed or decrease defense or, whatever, you're going to want accuracy. Otherwise, I would get resist. Accuracy and resist are kind of not working properly in this game, so just take that with a grain of salt. But build accuracy if you want to land debuffs. The next one right here is Rune 4, and this is going to be crit chance percent or crit damage percent. These are the only two things you can get. 99% of the people are going to run crit chance runes. If you're able to get to 100% crit rate with using a crit damage rune here, then good for you. And do that because crit damage is very important. But otherwise, you're most likely going to have crit chance in this slot here. The next one, Rune Slot 5, is physical defense or magic defense. You can see I have percent here. You can also get flat stats here, but you do want percent. In the end game, you have very high base stats, right? So all of your base stats are based on your Evo level. Your base stats are shown on the left-hand side in white over here. And then this green numbers over here is everything multiplied off your base stats. So when you have percent, you're going to be getting a percent value of all your base stats. So when you're higher Evo, it's going to be a very high number. If you have flat defense in this area, it may be better when you're like level 50, but when you're level 200, it's going to be much worse. So do not focus on flat stat runes. This top left rune here, rune slot number 6, is HP. You can get flat or percent, but you want percent, just as I said before. Some other quick notes here about runes is it costs 12.2 million gold to max a 5-star rune, a legendary. There's many terms. You can say 5-star, you can say legendary, you can say gold. I think some people call them orange, but the legendary runes. So 12.2 million gold to max one all the way to level 15. You get new stats at level 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. So just keep that in mind. And the base, you have base and then you have substats. So you get new substats at all those intervals I just said. And your main stat goes up every time you level up. This is how much XP is generated when you feed runes to other runes to level them up. So if you want to level them up, you just feed runes that you do not want into them. And this is how much XP you get for each rune. So obviously a gold rune is almost double the amount of XP as a green rune. I don't have gold runes in here. So another thing is I've begun starting to look at min and max rolls on gold runes versus purple runes because a couple people were wondering if they can roll the same. The minimum seems to be higher for most of them. Obviously, these are just the ones I've seen, so there may be ones higher or lower than this, but this is just what I've seen. So you can see the minimum speed I've seen on a gold rune was 4, but the minimum speed was 3 on a purple rune. So they do roll less, and obviously the main stat rolls less as well. So if all you can get is purple runes, it's okay to level up purple runes, especially if it's your speed rune and your crit chance rune. In order of importance, it goes speed first. I would max this one first. Then I would work on your crit chance rune. And then I would work on your HP percent rune. That's my personal opinion. That's how I level up my runes. And that's how I would recommend doing it. And then you can just get the rest of them after that. Okay. So I also have an example of some phantoms here that show some really good runes, what kind of rune sets you want to use. But also on my spreadsheet, if you go to the phantom tier list, I have updated this and I show recommended runes for each phantom and I show what it means, right? So if I say damage runes, that means you probably want to run 4-piece Squall with 2 Harvest or 2 Frost. And if you want to run damage, another way to do it is 2 Harvest, 2 Frost, 2 Squall. Speed is 4 times Harvest. Battle wounds obviously are viable on some phantoms, and whenever you deal damage, you gain some health back. And then you have stun runes. So I just kind of wanted to show some cookie cutter builds. If you're not sure how to build a phantom, you can come here, find whatever phantom you're using, and then pick one of the ways to build him. Some of them like Mystic or Sea Warrior, there's 3 different builds you could do. Water Elf, some support champions. You can build them speed so they can land debuffs quicker. You can build them stun if you want them to help with stuns. You can build them damage if you want to focus on damage. So there's many ways to build phantoms, but runes are very important, right? They scale all of your base stats up. So, okay, let's talk about rolls. So if I'm looking at a rune here, there's different colors that designate how high the ranges that they roll, right? So what I think is happening here is you get 3 rolls into each gold rune. Okay, so this one right here, that means I got 3 rolls into magic defense. This one right here means I got 1 bad roll into crit rate. You can see how it's blue. I rolled 3%, which is as low as it goes. 3% crit. So if I go over to my rune calculator here, you can see that a 3% crit rate is the minimum roll that you can have. So this means that I rolled 1 roll into crit rate, and since it's blue, that means it's a bad roll. And then it means I got 2 rolls into effect accuracy, which I also think are minimum rolls, because I think the minimum effect accuracy is 4%. So this means I have 3 rolls, and they're all bare minimum rolls. The color kind of guides you depending on, how the rolls are. So again here, this means I rolled 1 into crit rate. It's a bad roll. And I rolled 2 into physical defense. You can see sometimes you'll roll 3 different, like this one right here. So you can see here, magic defense 8%. So this is a really good roll in magic defense, a decent roll in physical attack, and a bad roll on resistance. So that's how the rolls work. They're a little bit different. They have obviously much different ranges depending on what you're actually looking at, right? So you'll see this. I think this means I got 3 speed rolls and they're all 2. Or maybe you only get 2 rolls. Let's see. For blue, I haven't looked at blue rolls very often. Okay, so you still get 3 rolls. So this literally means I got 3 speed rolls and they're all 2, which is probably the bare minimum. So that's how rolls work. And then when you level them up, if you scroll to the bottom, you can see here, +3, +6, +9, +12, and +15 give you bonus stats. So this top one is base stats, and these ones down here are extra stats, or I call them secondary stats because that's what they're normally called in video games. So every time you level it up to 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, you will get 1 more roll, and it is completely random what it rolls. So you could roll all of them into crit rate, technically, or all of them into, 1 substat. Obviously, it's a very low chance, but you could also roll basically a bunch of stats that you don't already have. So it's totally random, and you can also roll the same stat in a base stat and an extra stat. Games like Raid Shadow Legends, you can't do that. In this game, you can. So I could roll, a bunch of crit in a rune, and then I could get crit rate like this here. So I got crit rate, and I also have more crit rate in the secondary stats. Okay, that's rolls, how everything works. Let's talk about how you level up runes. So for leveling up runes, all you do is you click a rune, you hit boost, and you're basically going to go through and sacrifice. What I do is I keep all my gold runes, and I sacrifice everything else right away. I'm an endgame player, so for most people, on my free-to-play account, I get rid of all my blue runes, and I keep legendary and epic runes. You can also go through, right now there's no way to lock runes, which is kind of unfortunate, and there's no way to sort runes. So it makes it kind of cumbersome to go through, but what you can do is, you can feed runes just by clicking them. And if you have like a bad rune, like whatever, like this one, you just click it, you click as many as you want, until this gets +4, and then you'll know, and then you hit boost, and it uses the gold, and you'll get the random rolls at 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. So that's how you boost runes. Let's talk about how to get runes, right? So we talked about where to get them from. Phantom Abode is where you're going to be getting them in the beginning. And you can also get fodder runes here. So when I use the Battle Assistant, I will use this last level here because I'm trying to book my Merlin all the way. So I'll farm this last level in the Battle Assistant, and you'll get some of these runes that I can use for fodder. As far as getting the endgame runes, so Demon Fortress, I'm in Dragon right here, and Dragon drops these runes. The best runes from Dragon are these Harvest runes here. These gives you speed and crit rate for the set bonuses. These Battle Wound are very good but kind of niche, right? So sometimes, like King Arthur, almost everyone runs King Arthur with Battle Wound set because of his counterattack. Every time he counterattacks, when he's damaged, he does damage and he heals himself, so he stays alive very well. Oppression is good, but you need certain setup to be able to use it. It triggers off certain debuffs on the enemies, so certain phantoms are really good. Puppeteer, Zeus, they're able to proc these runes very easily. I don't know that this is working totally as intended, so just be careful investing a lot in these runes. It may be changed in the future. Shield runes right here give you reduces incoming damage by 20%. These are very niche. You're maybe only going to use it on a tank who's not King Arthur. And these runes right here are terrible. Let's move over to Wolf Demon. So this one, you can get legendary runes once you get up to level 13. And this one has some very good runes. So Headcracker runes, these are the stun set I was talking about earlier. When you have a 4-piece, you have a 20% chance to stun the target. So these are very good runes. Usually used on support characters. Or characters like Haley, Puppeteer, anyone who does AoE attacks that have multiple hits are very good to proc these runes. Queen of Chaos as well is very good in a Headcracker or stun set. Spine set is good, and most people just use it for the 2-piece bonus for 25% more HP. Someone like Lord of Shadows, they'll use 2-piece spine, they'll use 2-piece self-healing for 15% more HP, and then they'll use a 2-piece like Harvest or Frost to get crit rate. These runes are just meh, they give you some physical and magic attack. These are also kind of just okay, not really used very often. Gives physical and magic attack also. Squall runes are the #1 damage runes. Most people are using this for the crit damage. Crit damage scales very well and allows you to do a lot of damage, especially if you have a very high crit chance. There's also 2 new rune sets that were added to the game very recently. Let me move myself out of the way here. There is these fiery runes here that give you 2-set bonus, max HP, and increased speed, and then a 4-set that basically gives you an immunity shield for 1 turn against control effects. I haven't tested any of these. These you can only get by placing high in the arena, so these ones are very hard to get. And the other set that recently came out is the Frost set. So this one right here, basically, the 2-set bonus is a direct upgrade over Harvest. Harvest only gives you 12% crit rate. This one gives you that plus physical and magic attack. And the 4-piece is kind of meh. When dealing damage, 20% chance to freeze the target for 1 turn. So yeah, just wanted to call those out. These are very strong runes. Right, so you can get these by placing high in tournaments. This is a majority of the time, that's how you get these Piercing Frost runes. So. Okay, so that's how you get runes. We talked about rolls. We talked about all sorts of different things here. So I mentioned that you're going to want to level them up, speed, crit, then HP. Let me kind of show you an example of that. So this is my free-to-play account here. I don't have my runes all maxed. So I just kind of want to show you what I'm trying to do. So, I'll just kind of show you what I'm doing with my runes. So, okay, Sea Conqueror, you want her to be super fast. So what I'm going to do is I focus on getting my speed rune on her. This is the most important for her, right? So I'm running the 4-piece Harvest to give her speed, and I'm leveling my speed rune first. This will be maxed first because I want a lot of speed because her entire role is to go first and reduce the enemy's attack bar. So then Zeus. Kind of similar. You can see here I leveled my speed rune first. Zeus is very, very slow. So I'm running him in his speed set because I want him to land paralyzed before my damage dealers go. So I leveled speed rune first. And then I leveled crit rune because I want him to do some damage. And then next I'll probably be working on HP or some of these other ones. My personal rule is if it's a gold rune and it has solid rolls, take it all the way to level 15. If it's an epic rune, you can take it up to level 15 if you got some solid rolls. but you may only want to keep it at 12. It's really up to you. If you have blue runes, I really wouldn't take them up past 6 because, you know, you need them to get through content. It's kind of like a double-edged sword, right? You need your runes rolled up to get through content. But you also don't want to invest too much resources in the low-level runes, like the blue runes, because you'll just replace them later. Obviously, you can, like, I could feed this level 15 rune into another rune, but you lose all of the gold you invested. You don't lose the experience. You can carry over all the experience, but you do lose all the gold. So just keep that in mind when you're going to roll up runes, you know. And what I would do is, you see, I have 2 phantoms that are my carries, right? These are going to be my highest level phantoms. I will always have these guys be the highest Evo level. So I would work on their runes first because they're going to be doing the majority of carrying in your team. So that's how I would, you know, basically choose who to level up, right? So, like, I'm not going to use Sea Conqueror as my carry. She does decent damage, but she's really there to be fast and land the attack bar reduction. She's not there as a damage dealer. She doesn't do any AoE damage, so I don't want to max her runes before I max Merlin's runes. So just keep that in mind. Okay, that's everything I know about runes. I hope you enjoyed the video. Go down there, smash the like button, subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and have a great and wonderful day, everyone. See ya.